Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the season semi-finale of the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series. We are here today at Martinsville Speedway, a track that, frankly, American Sim Racing Club has seen quite often and has brought some of the most exciting action here with the American Sim Racing Club. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight. 1080p, 60 frames a second, as always. Folks, what we have in stock here tonight for the season semi-finale, 20-lap heat race that we will see for the first time in a 75-lap feature, as per usual. As drivers get themselves out on track and beginning their qualifying runs here, seeing what times they can put down out on track. Brett Hahn, the 71 machine, after last week's race. Ron Hart coming home with the win last week at Irwindale Speedway. Or frankly, actually the 2 weeks beforehand, Ron Hart coming home with the win. He was able to put himself into the lead for the championship here in the final 2 races of the season. So Ron Hart, the 05-1 machine, is going to be the driver currently leading the championship. Will he be able to come home victorious after the final race at Nashville Super Speedway? That is remaining to be seen here. But also Brett Hahn not out of the picture here, as he still remains in that second place spot for the championship. So there very well could be a heated battle for the championship here in the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series here in 2022. And folks, I gotta say, this has got to be, some of the most exciting action that we've had develop here so far this season. I mean, it's kind of, we've seen a lot of great racing, a lot of great battles happening throughout this season so far, but to have kind of this championship battle here in the final 2 races, and also knowing that Brett Hahn, the 71 car, has come away with 3 championships since we have started covering the American Sim Racing Club action. And we're currently watching who appears to be the number 70 on his car, but in our timing and scoring, he is showing as 920. That is Dylan Canova. The first time that I am seeing him up here in the booth, so I'm sure we will find out who he is later on in the race once post-race interviews come around. But that is not the focus of what is happening right now, as we are getting ourselves lined up for the start of our heat race here today. Justin Callahan, the number 75 machine, going to be starting off in first place, with Billy Thomas in the number 9 car starting off in second. Hayden Swank in the 35 machine going to be in third place here, with Dylan Canova taking that 4th place spot. Charles Darling in 5th place, David Payton in 6th, Ron Hart taking that 7th place spot, Andrew Payne in 8th place, Michael Sturgill in 9th, Brett Hahn in 10th place, John Senu in 11th, Matthew Catania in 12th place, and as we move ourselves down the grid here, John Kane in 13th, rounding out our field here today. So now, as we just patiently await for the pace truck to make its way around the track here and get these drivers ready for what will be the first laps of the race here at Martinsville Speedway. Again, a 20-lap heat race. It was changed a few races ago to I believe it was actually about midway through the season, if I recall correctly, that the heat races were changed to a 16-lap heat. And for tonight, it is going to be a 20-lap heat, given, it is the season semi-finale, so why not add a little bit of extra spice into the mix for things here at Martinsville, and also just knowing that Martinsville is just a little bit smaller than the previous track that we were at last week, Irwindale Speedway. Actually, I take that back. That might be actually incorrect, but either way, either how, coming in at just over a half a mile in length. Martinsville Speedway definitely holding true to the short track nature that we see here for the Super Late Model Touring Series with the gentlemen at American Sim Racing Club. As we work our way through turns 1 and 2 for what will be probably the last time, I would have to imagine. Down the back straightaway, the lights are off on the pace truck, so once we come out of turn 4, that pace truck will make its entry down into pit lane. There it goes, the quick dive into turn 3 we go. There it is, the restart zone in effect here. 20 laps to go. Justin Callahan with a really good start here, but we've already got bumping and banging happening. The number 90 machine, Michael Sturgill, bringing out the first caution here at Martinsville Speedway after a little bit of contact here. Let's go back and take a look at exactly what unfolded here. Looking at the number 90 machine, Michael Sturgill, that silver good wrench machine gets a little bit of a tap from the rear end. It's enough to send him sideways. Another driver getting collected in that. That looks to be the 57. That is incorrect. That is Ron Hart, the 51 machine, the current championship leader, getting involved in that one here. We're going to take just a second here to resolve something here on our end, and we'll be right back in just a few seconds. All right, apologies for that, everyone. 18 laps left to go here for the heat race, the semi-finale of the Super Late Model Touring Series. The lights are off on the pace truck. So once we come back around, again, 18 laps that we will have left here in this heat race. It's Justin Callahan, Billy Thomas, Hayden Swank, all in our top 3. Right now, the top 3 of the championship, Ron Hart, Brett Hahn, Andrew Payne, all kind of towards the back of the field here at this point in the race, but I'm sure that will change here before too long. But let's see first where everyone is going to find themselves for the start of the race as we go back to green flag racing here. 16 laps left to go. I was a little off on my math there, but as the yellow flag flies here once more, we've got the 93 machine, Andrew Payne, facing the opposite direction here, just on the inside of turn 1. Let's see what unfolded here. Looking at the 93 Team Goon Squad machine here. Oh, the 71 Brett Hahn trying to check up to the 93. Gets into the rear end just a little bit, and it's enough to send that 93 spinning out, having to recorrect itself on the track here. He's going to fall back towards the tail end of the field, looking at possibly P12 right now. Here as our race control is getting everything sorted out, making sure drivers are where they're supposed to be in timing and scoring. We make our way down the back straightaway here at Martinsville Speedway. The lights are still on the pace truck, but I do have a feeling that they will be off here the next time around. Eric Hahn, the father of Brett the Jet Hahn, here in the chat. Welcome, Eric. Thank you for joining us here for tonight's race, and you are absolutely right. It is a big night. I know you guys are all on the edge of your seats. I know that I certainly am. It's going to be a lot of intense action here tonight. And frankly, you know, after that little bit of contact there with Brett and Andrew Payne, I mean, tough break, but we all know how well and how easily Brett can work his way through a field. So as the pace truck makes its dive back down into pit lane. It's Justin Callahan, Billy Thomas, Hayden Swank, all our top three here as we come out of turn 4. The green flag drops here at Martinsville Speedway. We're back to green flag racing here. The number 70, Dylan Canova, he gets tapped sideways. This is not off to a great start here for this heat race for these drivers. I mean, all of these guys wanting to get real close to one another. You got to appreciate the hard racing, but, you know, that contact's it's going to come. It'll always come at some point or another. But, I mean, you got to hand it to all of these drivers just trying to maintain that space between each other. There, Hayden Swank gets, yeah, it's just barely here. Let's back this up here just a little bit and see if we can get a better angle on this. This is perfect right here. So, we're going to see Hayden Swank. He's trying to check up to, looks like Billy Thomas there. Gets on the brakes. Gets a little bit of a bump there. Dylan Canova backs off as well. And then Charles Darling, the 88 machine, doesn't see it. Well, I don't know if he didn't see any of this, but he definitely did not see Dylan Canova slowing down in that moment, which ultimately caused him to make that collision there to the rear end of the 70 of Dylan Canova, again showing as the 920 on timing and scoring. So if you are a little confused looking for that number 70/920 car, we are talking of Dylan Canova here, making his first appearance, as far as I know, for the Super Late Model Touring Series. But great to see new faces anytime that they come, regardless of where it is in the season. Justin Callahan, Billy Thomas, Hayden Swank, the rest of the field getting waved the green flag here. 17 laps left to go. Just trying to get some green laps clicked off here for these drivers. We're going to take a little bit of a look further back down the field here. Michael Sturgill, the number 90 machine, up on top of the championship leader. Ron Hart, the 51 machine, down on the inside, out of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Ron Hart trying to push his way up the grid as much as he possibly can here in these now going to be 15 laps of this heat race. Where you place yourself in the heat race here is going to determine where you start for the feature. So every position counts, especially in a series where you don't have pit stops. You're not coming down into pit road for any reason at all, other than if you make a mistake and you have to come down because you cannot drive your car anymore. But so far, taking a little bit of a wider look here at the field at Martinsville, just seeing what we can look here. Across the checkered line into turn 1, you can see Billy Thomas, the number 9 machine, trying to find any possible line that he can here. He's also getting a little bit of pressure from behind. Ooh, we got something happening here. Michael Sturgill, a little bit wobbly there. Not sure if he might have made a little bit of contact with Andrew Payne. Let's ride on board here from the roof camera of the 93. Andrew Payne. Oh, buddy. Oh, we got the caution out here as well. Looks like Ron Hart. Oh, man. Ron Hart here not having the best time in this heat. Ron on the outside of Andrew Payne coming through turn 2. Yeah, there it is. So right as we tuned in to Andrew Payne on the roof camera, we all saw it. Andrew Payne kind of washing up to the outside line, to the wall there on the outside of turn 2. And what we didn't see was that Ron Hart, the 51 machine, was still there on the outside of that 93 car. So a little bit of a collision there. You can see the damage done to the 051 car as he makes his way down into pit road. That is going to be a pretty scuffed race car, I would have to say. He is definitely probably not going to make it out here with only 12 laps left to go in this heat race. If he does, it's going to be heartbreaking to say the least. But the race is not over yet. It is only just the heat, and there is still a 75 lap feature to be done here tonight at Martinsville Speedway for the season semi-finale of the Super Late Model Touring Series as we go back to green flag racing. Hayden Swank with quite the impressive jump on the rest of the field here, taking that first place spot. Billy Thomas, who was in third, now falling back to sixth place here. Couple drivers, a lot of drivers here going side by side, and they are just fighting for positions left and right. But as Eric Hahn mentioned in the chat, this is a very tough racetrack. Our top three here getting themselves a little bit of room from the rest of the field. John Kane sitting in that fourth place spot has seemingly the most pressure at this moment with Matthew Catania, Michael Sturgill. Oh, we got another car sideways. It's John Senu. He gets a little bit of a tap to, looks like, the left rear quarter panel. That's enough to send him sideways as well out of turn two. Down onto the bottom wall of the back straightaway here, you see the 70 Dylan Canova with that rear tap to the left rear quarter panel of the 86 machine of John Senu. That's going to bring out the caution here once more. Our fifth caution with only 9 laps left to go. But folks, you know, you might be looking at this and saying, oh, that's a lot of cautions. Well, that's a lot of really tough racing that we're seeing, and this is just giving us an idea of what it's going to be like in the feature as far as difficulty for these drivers. I mean, every single one of these guys is going to be scrapping for positions. They're going to be trying everything that they possibly can here. And again, Ron Hart, Brett Hahn, Andrew Payne, Matthew Catania, and Charles Darling are all in our top 5 here in this season. I don't know exactly how close we are in points. I should have grabbed that from Tanner, our lovely owner and overseer of the happenings at American Sim Racing Club, but oh well, next time. Anyway, with one race left to go, everything is, you know, it's all come down to this point, to these last 2 races, and given that we're going to Nashville Super Speedway for the grand finale of the season, I mean, that just kind of tickles me pink a little bit, to be quite honest with you, but it's going to be pretty much just pedal to the metal racing for the final race, so this is going to be probably one of the toughest races out of the 2. Back to green flag racing as we come out of turn 4. Hayden Swank again with that jump on the field, just trying to distance himself from all the carnage that has been seemingly happening throughout this field. Oh man, look at this. Drivers all over the place, jockeying for position, trying to gain anything that they possibly can here. You see Andrew Payne here duking it out side by side with Dylan Canova. You got Charles Darling, Billy Thomas as well side by side down the back straightaway as we come into turn 3. Door to door between the 2 drivers, the 70 and the 93 machine. Brett Hahn starting to see a little bit of that pressure forming behind him as he tries to keep up with the number 90 of Michael Sturgill. Five laps left to go here at Martinsville Speedway for the heat race tonight. So we're going to ride on the roof camera of Charles Darling of BNC Racing in the number 88 machine as we come out of turn 4. Charles here in that 10th place spot. You can see Andrew Payne, Dylan Canova just ahead of him, duking it out still side by side. Andrew Payne, you can see, just trying to do everything that he can to get out in front of the 70 car, and there he does this time around out of turn 4. Will he be able to push his way up into what is really the top 7 at this moment, as the battles still continue on here with only 2 laps left to go. The top 3 looking quite comfortable at this moment, but here in the midfield, it is a much different story. 2 laps left to go here at Martinsville Speedway. Once we cross the line again, the white flag will be out. There it is on our screen, the white flag flying here at Martinsville. Let's see where these drivers are going to place themselves on the grid going into the feature race here. Hayden Swank, David Payton, Justin Callahan, all the top 3 right now as they come out of turn 4. There goes Hayden Swank across the checkered line. And a lot of single file racing beyond that. Looks like Charles Darling trying to make a dive there, but didn't quite work out for him that time. So let's take a look at our results from that heat race. Again, Hayden Swank taking home the win. David Payton in 2nd, Justin Callahan in 3rd, Matthew Catania in 4th, Michael Sturgill in 5th, Brett Hahn in 6th, Andrew Payne in 7th, John Kane in 8th, Dylan Canova in 9th, Charles Darling 10th, Ron Hart in 11th, Billy Thomas in 12th place, and John Senu rounding out the field in that 13th place spot. A very, very tough heat race here tonight at Martinsville. I gotta say, that was quite the show, and that was only just the beginning of what to expect here tonight. You know, folks, this is why I love calling the action for the drivers here at American Sim Racing Club. They are just a phenomenal bunch of drivers, and I hope that for everyone that tunes in every single week and watches these races unfold, enjoys the action as much as I do, and I'm sure as much as the drivers are enjoying it in the seats. Although, you know, let's be honest, we're not really having that much fun unless we're actually driving the thing. So I think the drivers are having a little bit more fun than us, but we do our best here. As we just have a little bit of a warm-up session happening for our drivers at this moment. Just one final opportunity to get those lap times worked out, get those lines, those braking points worked out as much as you possibly can. This flat track here at Martinsville, you definitely have to be very caught there, just like Justin Callahan is demonstrating for us. This is a very tough track. These flat tracks are always kind of a, I don't want to say shot in the dark, but it's always tough. You never really know what's going to happen. The conditions of the track, just everything about racing on a flat track is just, it's wild. And you have to account for a lot while you're behind the wheel. So, again, after last week's race at Irwindale Speedway, it was Ron Hart, Matthew Catania, and David Payton taking home the top 3. And, again, after Ron Hart winning that race, was able to put himself into the lead for the championship, and with only 2 races left to go here. I mean, Martinsville, again, a tough track, and with seeing how Ron Hart is kind of his luck right now for tonight's race isn't really looking too great. And I mean, it's not necessarily his fault either. Ron Hart is a great driver. We've seen him perform extremely well in the series, but again, Martinsville is just one of those tracks that can be rather unforgiving, and I think tonight, in the case of the 051 machine, that could be the case here. But even with that in mind, you know, we have seen drivers that have not had the best success, or start to a race rather. Maybe they didn't start too well in the heat race, come back later in the feature and just come away with it. It's absolutely astonishing what can happen. So as our drivers just have a few seconds left before the checkered flag is waved here for our warm-up session, drivers getting their race cars ready for the 75 laps here at Martinsville Speedway. And as we await our starting grid for tonight's race, again, Hayden Swank taking home the win for the heat race. Starting off in first place for the feature in the number 35 machine, with David Payton, the 38 car, taking second place. Justin Callahan, the number 75 machine, taking third. Matthew Catania, the 318 machine, taking fourth place here, with Michael Sturgill in fifth. Brett Hahn in sixth place, the second place contender in the championship at this moment. Andrew Payne in seventh, John Kane in eighth, Dylan Canova in ninth place, Charles Darling in 10th, and Ron Hart, the driver currently leading the championship, starting off in 11th place, and Billy Thomas in 12th. And I also forgot to mention that Andrew Payne in 7th place there is our third place driver in the championship. Rounding out our field here, though, 13th place driver John Senu in the number 86 machine. So as our drivers make their way around the track with the pace truck in tow, getting themselves ready for the start of the night's race here. Folks, this is going to be a very, very intense race. I do have a feeling, and I think that these drivers know it. Like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, every time that we've been here at Martinsville with American Sim Racing Club, the action has always been exciting here. Lights are off on the pace truck, so once we come out of turn 4, the green flag will drop. We will be back to racing here very, very shortly. There it goes, the pace truck with its dive through turn 3 and out of 4. The green flag drops, and here we go, racing once again at Martinsville Speedway for the season semi-finale of the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series. We're already out of turn 2, down the back straightaway, side by side between Justin Callahan, Brett Hahn on the outside as they come out of turn 4, down the front straightaway here once again. Very, very smooth work through turns 1 and 2. Out the back straightaway here once more. Andrew Payne not getting the best of luck in that exchange between the 71 machine. He's going to fall back just a little bit. Catches a little bit of contact from the 75 of Justin Callahan. The 70 machine of Dylan Canova also coming to a stop here as well, just on the middle section between turn 3 and 4. That is going to bring out our first caution on lap 3 of 75 here at Martinsville Speedway. Let's take a look at the instant replay and see what unfolded here. Coming down the back straightaway, heading into turn 3. This is where it unfolds here. There you see just the slightest tap from Justin Callahan. Let's back that up here just a little bit and see if we can get a better picture of that tap here. It's the slightest slightest tap here. It looks like the front right of the 75 machine just barely got into the left side of Andrew Payne there, and that was enough to send him sliding up the racetrack. Luckily for Andrew Payne, he didn't collide with the wall, and it looks like Dylan Canova also came to a stop before anything else happened in that incident. So great work there from Andrew Payne on getting that car to a stop. Great work to Dylan Canova as well. Unfortunate that he had to sacrifice seemingly a few positions ultimately because of that. But great racing, great incident avoidance out of all these drivers here. So there you go, the pace truck back down into pit lane as we come out of turn 4 and into the Geico restart zone. Back to green flag racing here at Martinsville Speedway. Hayden Swank doing what he does best here seemingly at Martinsville, just getting away from this field as quickly as possible, just building up that gap. Not allowing anyone to get close to him. That's really the best, probably, strategy that you could have here, but could also be the most, well, challenging one at that. You make one mistake and it's game over as Matthew Catania makes that mistake and he gets into the wall here. Just on the upper wall between turn 1 and 2. Right smack dab in the middle, it looked like. He's got Brett Hahn down on his inside here. Oh, okay. It looks like possibly Catania maybe wanted to try and possibly throw a block there. Let's take a look here. Let's throw on our investigator cap here and see exactly what unfolded. We're looking at the 318 machine, the orange, white, and I think blue car here on the outside of the 71 machine. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, yeah, just I don't think it was intentional of Matthew Catania to go down that low. I think he was trying to stay down as low as he could, but he probably didn't realize how little space he had between himself and Brett Hahn, ultimately causing that collision there. But as you can see, folks, looking right now at the top 3, it's Hayden Swank, David Payton, and guess who? Brett the Jet Hahn. I told you guys it wouldn't be very long before he found himself back up here in the top 3. Now, the only question remains, is Ron Hart going to be able to do the same here? Again, Ron Hart currently leading the championship. It is not exactly out of the question that Ron could still come away with something here tonight. Martinsville, again, one of those tracks that kind of go into it with a little bit of uncertainty, not knowing exactly how the race is going to unfold. And that's kind of what I'm left with here at this moment, as we've just got a lot of very intense battles happening out on track that are all just proving to be quite the challenge for these drivers, it seems. As we come out of turn 4, back to green flag racing as we go into the Geico restart zone. Seeing what is going to happen this time around for this field of drivers. As we come down the back straightaway, just taking a look at a wider angle of what's going on out on the field. You can kind of see, you can actually see the whole field in this view. There as they make their way out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway here once more. Got a little bit of action here between John Senu, Dylan Canova. Dylan dropping back to that 10th place spot here, but he ducks it down back onto the inside of the 86 machine. John Senu responds by blocking that entry as quickly as he saw it. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Hayden Swank, again, just a little bit of a distance between himself and David Payton at this moment in the 38 car, but given that David Payton has Brett Hahn and Michael Sturgill both hot on his heels, I can't imagine that that gap is going to last for very long here as these drivers continue their chase for the lead. And we've got another caution out on the track here. It looks like John Senu involved in this one, the number 86 machine. Let's see if we can go back and take a look at a replay of what happened here with John Senu. Here he's got Dylan Canova, the number 70 machine, just behind him. Oh, man, a lot. So a similar incident to what we've seen a lot of here tonight already is just drivers, you know, they're getting on those brakes and the guy behind them just maybe he isn't getting on them enough or getting on them too late. Something along those lines, but either way, we've seen a lot of this here tonight at Martinsville Speedway, but that's just the nature of this track. Again, just clocking in at over a half a mile in length. There's not a whole lot of time that you're spending in the straights, and when you're in these turns, it's a lot of work. You are definitely doing everything you can to keep as fast as possible, because it's easy to take these turns slow, but it's not easy to take them fast. But as that's our third caution here of the night, and it looks like our pace truck has made its way back down into pit lane. The green flag is waved here once again. It's lap 10 of 75 here at Martinsville Speedway. Let's see what sort of run we can get with these drivers here this time around, and how on edge some of these drivers probably are behind the wheels at this moment. I know that if I was behind the wheel in a race like this, it is definitely going to be a white knuckle kind of race. Here, as we're going to ride in on the roll bar camera of Justin Callahan here. So you get an inside view of the 75 machine trying to track down. We'll switch to his helmet camera so that way you don't have a roll bar obstructing your view here. But you can see Justin Callahan again trying to stay behind the 93 of Andrew Payne, who currently holds on to that 7th place spot here in tonight's race. Lap 13 of 75. Still plenty of racing left to be done here. You can hear there from that moment that we spent with Justin Callahan just how little that you're spending on the throttle. You know, you're really, a lot of the time, I think most of the time here at Martinsville, you're going to be focusing more on just hitting your braking zones more than anything. It's easy to just accelerate out of the turn and go fast down the straightaway, but it's crucial, absolutely crucial, that you are hitting that brake zone almost perfectly every single time. Consistency is key in racing, and when it's down to the last 2 races of the championship, that is exemplified even further. David Payton here, the 2nd place driver of the 38 machine. He's got Brett Hahn still hot on his heels right now, and has had him there for quite some time. Brett Hahn just giving David all the pressure that he possibly can. Looking down the inside here as they work their way through turns 1 and 2, and it looks like Brett Hahn is going to be successful in doing so here. Coming down the back straightaway, David Payton just a little bit faster, but again, is it going to be enough as we come through turn 4? Out onto the front straightaway, they're still duking it out side by side here. Brett Hahn on the inside of the 38 of David Payton. Still neck and neck as they come down the back straightaway. Charles Darling, you can see just behind them, also getting a little wobbly as he's side by side with the 90 of Michael Sturgill. Lap 21 of 75, and things are only just starting to get warmed up here for these drivers of the American Sim Racing Club for the Super Late Model Touring Series. Hayden Swank still holding on to the lead here with just, actually with an impressive gap here of about, well, actually that's going to change as we have a caution out. John Kane involved in this one, the 29 car. Little bit sideways here out of turn 4 as he tries to get that car corrected on the track here, trying to avoid any other drivers colliding with him. Let's see exactly what unfolded here for the 29 machine. Through turn 3, coming out of 4. Oh, okay, I see what happened here. He just barely. So, folks, I don't know if you'll notice there, but there is a little piece of concrete right there. I know you can't see my mouse when I'm pointing it, but the red and white line that he's currently sitting on right now, when you cross over that line onto that little bit of pavement there, it is basically like glass. Let me play this here for you so you can kind of see. And iRacing they do an extremely good job of modeling, things like tires and so on and so forth. They're extremely good at simulating these things. To a point to where it can sometimes seem a little over aggressive, and this is definitely one of those cases where it seems like there was only just a few maybe inches of tire of that 29 machine on that little piece of pavement that is, again, significantly cooler than the rest of the track, which causes that issue there. It's that line right there coming out of turn 4 it can be deadly sometimes for these drivers. So as we cross the checkered line, there is no. Okay, all right. Getting our field sorted out here. Making sure drivers are all in the proper place, but let's take a look at the top 3 as things have changed just a little bit. Again, I mentioned that Hayden Swank, before we took the caution, he was sitting at about just over a 1.25 seconds of a gap between himself and second place driver Brett Hahn. So Hayden Swank was looking extremely comfortable out there in first place here in tonight's race. I don't know exactly how he's going to do this time around. Our 4th caution, as we come across the line, the lights go off on the pace truck, so we are going to come back to green here in just a few moments. But with having Brett Hahn, another driver that frankly is also quite talented with his race starts here, I don't know if Hayden is going to try and hold up the 71 machine. If I recall correctly, that is forbidden here with American Sim Racing Club, if I'm remembering the rules correctly here. The pace truck makes its dive down into pit lane, though. As we come through turns 3 and 4, we're going to enter the Geico restart zone just out of turn 4. There it goes, and we've already got Charles Darling getting a little bit of, I know he has got to be fuming at this point. Let's go back. Let's take a look at what happened here to Charles Darling, because this is a rough way to restart your race. Oh, and having Ron Hart too behind you, that's definitely not going to make Charles Darling too happy, I have a feeling. But here we go. The restart coming out of turn 4. We're looking at the 88 machine just kind of bunched in them. Okay, so actually it doesn't look like... Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense now. So it wasn't Ron Hart's fault. The rest of the field, again, so this is kind of what I was talking about. We're going to look at Hayden Swank here for just a second. I think he did. I think he held up the field. He bunched him up just a little bit, trying to get himself a little bit of an advantage on that restart. I think that's exactly what happened that time. And that's what caused Charles Darling to get sideways there. Unfortunate to see that happen here for the 88 machine. But as we are on lap 23 of 75 here, it is our fifth caution, of the race here tonight. We're going to take a very, very short commercial break. And when we come back, we will have more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back for more. Alrighty, folks, we are back to green flag racing here. Lap 25 of 75 here for the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series. Hayden Swank, Brett Hahn, David Payton, all our top 3 here. Hayden Swank looks like he was able to get himself a good restart this time around. Able to get himself up to almost a 3/4 second lead here as we continue our way down the back straightaway. Brett Hahn at this point clicking off laps, trying to see what he can do to reduce that time between himself and Hayden Swank at the moment. David Payton, meanwhile, Michael Sturgill and Ron Hart both hot on his heels. Michael Sturgill as well, looking quite impressive in this race here. And Ron Hart, after having to start a little bit towards the tail end of the field here, able to push his way up into the top 5, sitting in that 5th place spot at this moment. Ron Hart, that championship leader right now, definitely is going to have to place himself ahead of Brett Hahn in order to, I think, stay in the lead for that championship going into the final race at Nashville Super Speedway. Here as we're going to ride on the roof camera of the 93 of Andrew Payne. Great driving here from Andrew Payne. I'm loving to see all of the great driving here tonight. All of these guys just pushing themselves here in tonight's race, it seems like, and I'm just all for it. Brett Hahn, he's still trying to trail down Hayden Swank, and really it's just going to be a lot of patience involved here for the 71 machine, but you can see it. He is slowly but surely dwindling down that time between himself and Hayden Swank at this moment, with just under a half a second gap between them, between these two drivers at this moment. I don't think it'll be very long before Hayden Swank starts to see that 71 machine start to give him a little bit of pressure here as we ride along out the rear view of the 35 of Hayden Swank as we come out of turn 4 and across the checkered line here at Martinsville Speedway is lap 34 of 75. Taking a little bit further back in the field, looking at Charles Darling, Dylan Canova, John Senu. All three of these drivers have been involved in an incident one way or another. You can see a little bit of scrapes and dings to all three of these cars. Looks like John Senu possibly might have had the least amount of contact out of all those drivers, as it doesn't seem like he's got too much there. But either way, all of these drivers having to work their way from the tail end of this field, kind of midway through this race. Definitely probably not the way they wanted to start this race or end it, but still out here clicking off laps, just trying to do the best that they can and see what they can do for their team here at tonight's race at Martinsville. So a lot of these drivers right now obviously taking this single file line, just trying to keep things green and clean, just clicking off laps at this point with only, 35 laps left to go. Being over the halfway point in this race, and with how intense the racing has been between all of these drivers, as it looks like we're starting to get a battle for the lead here. Let's go ahead and ride on board for just a moment with Brett the Jet Hahn, the number 71 machine, looking to take home a win here to put himself back in the lead for the championship for the Super Late Model Touring Series and make himself possibly a 4-time back-to-back champion with the American Sim Racing Club since we have started covering the series here on Team Goon Squad. Brett Hahn just being patient as ever, waiting for the opportunity to arise to make that pass or make the dive down onto the inside and force his way up into that first place spot. But until we hit that lap 55 mark, or rather lap 50 mark, there is still plenty of racing left to do for all of these drivers at this point. And I mean, even for Ron Hart as well, who I know wants to come away with a win here possibly, or even just a championship in general. I know that Ron wants to do it. And sitting here in this 5th place spot, it almost seems like he's not entirely out of the picture here, but there's still about a three-quarter of a second gap between 3rd place driver David Payton and Brett Hahn. So they'd still have to close in on those top 2 drivers at this point. But there's still plenty of racing left to do, and it could still be a possibility, especially if there is another possibility of a caution, which still could happen. But let's not hope on that, as we've stayed green here for a little while now. And I think at this point, these drivers want to keep it that way all the way until the checkered flag. But as I was saying that about the gap between second and third place, it looks like David Payton's starting to close in just a little bit on that 71 car, slowly but surely. We might start to possibly see more than just a two-way battle for the lead here if things keep going the way that they are for the 38 car, as well as the drivers here realistically in the top 6 at this point in time, as they're all pretty well stacked up close to one another. 25 laps left to go, coming across the screen on the top left side. You can see the distance between the drivers on the left-hand side of your screen now in time, in seconds. Riding on board here with Andrew Payne for just a moment here in the number 93 machine, just taking a look and seeing what it's like here from the passenger view here in a super late model. And while we might have a little bit of a roll bar in our way, I could only imagine what it would actually be like to sit on the inside of these things in a passenger seat if they ever had one. But with 21 laps left to go here, I frankly think a lot of these drivers are going to be saving a lot of what they really have until the very, very bitter end. And I don't think we'll really see, frankly, we're all seeing these drivers go pedal to the metal right now, but I think we're seeing a lot of drivers kind of in that reserve state right now where they don't want to take any risk right now. They're not really too confident in at this point in the race. I mean, you don't want to make a move that's going to put you out of the race, but if if you got to do what you got to do, you're going to probably do it. $18 laps left to go. David Payton still tracking down Brett Hahn. It's just under a half a second separating these two drivers. And it's only getting closer and closer as we click off these laps. And every single turn, it seems like they get closer and closer here. Brett Hahn, meanwhile, up front in that second place spot. He is giving Hayden Swank everything that he's possibly got here, it seems like. Also looking like he's possibly fighting a lot of that dirty air around that 35 machine. Trying to keep it tucked in just behind it, but look at this. David Payton has now found his way to the rear bumper of the 71 Brett the Jet Hahn. So we're stacked up here for the lead, essentially for the top 5. Well, you could call it the top 6 here. And with 14 laps left to go, this is where the action is going to really be at its peak. Hayden Swank having led a good majority of the laps here in the race tonight, looking to possibly come home with the win here. But Brett Hahn looking to secure himself a championship for the Super Late Model Touring Series. Ron Hart as well, that 51 machine, holding on to that 5th place spot still. Also trying to see if he can secure himself a spot in the championship. But as I mentioned before, he would have to finish ahead of Brett Hahn, and right now, with only 12 laps left to go, I'm not sure that it's going to be entirely possible, but anything can still happen here, even with 11 laps left to go. All of these drivers shuffling around, trying to find room on the track, making moves where they can. Every single one of these drivers wants to come away with a win here tonight. Is it going to be Hayden Swank, who has been leading the majority of this field here tonight? Or will it be Brett Hahn having to fight his way up through the field, up here into this 2nd place spot currently? Or is it going to be another driver that has yet to show their true pace here tonight? All 6 of these drivers, man, they are all so close to one another, and each one of them not giving an inch at all. Everyone doing a great job of hitting those same braking points and maintaining speed through the turns. Absolutely critical here, and these guys are making it look easy. But it's 5 laps left to go here, 4 laps now here at Martinsville Speedway. While Hayden Swank might not be fighting for a championship, he's still going to be looking to secure a win here at Martinsville. Brett Hahn, meanwhile, with a 2nd place podium tonight, might possibly be enough, I think might actually be enough to secure his spot for the championship going into the final race at Nashville Super Speedway. David Payton, the number 38 car, currently holding on to the 6th place spot in the championship, looking to add on to that here as we have a caution come out with only 3 laps left to go. It's Matthew Catania. What in the world happened? Here we see Dylan Canova. Oh no. Makes that first bit of contact, and then again, and that's going to send the 318 machine getting a little bit sideways as he comes out of turn 4. Able to recover it and get back out onto the racetrack rather quickly. But our 6th caution here, and with only 3 laps left to go in tonight's race. Hayden Swank, Brett Hahn, David Payton, all in our top 3. I just cannot believe how this race has unfolded here tonight. You also have Michael Sturgill And Ron Hart in that 4th and 5th place spot. Ron Hart, after last week's race at Irwindale Speedway, able to take home the win, pushing his way into the championship lead. Currently sitting in 5th place. The lights are going to go off on the pace truck. We are going to get ready to go back to green flag racing here in just a few short moments. Pace truck makes its dive back down into pit road here as we come through turn 3. Here it goes, folks. I hope you all are ready. I'm on the edge of my seat. I hope you all are as we go back to green flag here at Martinsville Speedway. Hayden Swank trying to build up as much of a gap as he can with only 2 laps to go. And I don't think that is what Brett Hahn wants to see here. Quite a bit of action happening throughout the field, though. Final lap as we come across the checkered line. Hayden Swank with no one giving him hardly any trouble this time. Coming out of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Brett Hahn as well going to have quite a lot of room separating himself in 1st and 3rd place as we come out of turn 4 and across the checkered line. Hayden Swank coming home with the win here. David Payton in 3rd. Brett Hahn in 2nd place here. What a way to end a race here tonight at Martinsville Speedway. Here's we're going to get our post-race results up here and get ourselves ready for post-race interviews. So, Hayden Swank coming home with the win. Brett Hahn in 2nd. David Payton in 3rd. You can see the rest of the results on your screen right now as we get ourselves ready for post-race interviews. Up first is going to be David Payton, the number 38 machine, taking home 3rd place here tonight. David, sir, do you have a read?
I got you, Mason.
David, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on a podium here. Martinsville, very, very tough flat track that we have here. And, you know, I think tonight's racing definitely proved that fact here. David, I mean, Martinsville, obviously, as we all know, it's going to be tough regardless of how much preparation you do. I mean, what was kind of your expectations coming into tonight? Did you kind of expect it to be the way it was, or were you expecting hopefully a better, well, not better, but a cleaner race, if you will?
I mean, what do you expect whenever you come to Martinsville? You know, I mean, I love this track. I love it in real life. I love it in the sim. I like the flat tracks. You know, but I expected to wind up getting caught up in a caution somewhere. I think I got pretty lucky in the heat. I had a good heat race, even though there's a bunch of cautions, and then I had a good starting position. And, you know, once you settle in and you get to the inside, I mean, it's really hard to pass somebody here. And the last few weeks, I think I've been doing pretty good with kind of being consistent and hitting all my marks. And that's all I was trying to do pretty much the entire race, was keep Mike Sturgill at bay behind me. I feel like he was on my bumper for all 77 laps plus 10, you know, so I was just trying to focus on staying on the bottom and not letting him get a nose in on me, and I was hoping maybe that I'd see Brett get by Hayden and then maybe I could squeak by and grab a second, but I don't know. I wasn't really expecting the top 3, I'll tell you that, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think anytime that you come away with a podium, it's always a great feeling, you know, and kind of, you know, out of nowhere, that last caution with 3 laps left to go, I mean, that definitely had to throw a massive wrench in the gear for everyone, because, I mean, like you said, it looked like Brett Hahn was making quite the run on Hayden Swank. They're going into the final few laps, and it almost seemed like he might have been able to make that pass there, but because of that caution. I mean, Hayden has just had phenomenal success here with his restarts and was able to get that gap once again. I mean, what ran through your head in that moment seeing that yellow flag come out with 3 laps left to go?
I immediately queued up TeamSpeak to whisper to Brett, and I said, well, that's the worst time caution of the season for sure. I mean, it was like blue balls, really. I mean, it sucked because I saw, like, Brett, you know, he had been working on Hayden the whole time. I think Hayden kind of maybe wore out his stuff a little bit more than Brett, but like I said, it's so hard to pass here. You almost got to wait for the guy. You got to either intimidate him out of the way or wait for him to make a mistake where you can get underneath him. And Brett had been trying to set up on him for a long time, and he finally got it. Like, I think Hayden may have had a wobble, had to lift for a split second coming out of the corner, and then Brett went underneath them. And I was right there too. I was in position to be able to at least make an attempt to grab second from Hayden if Brett got by him. But that caution came out, and it was just like, oh man, it was disappointing. That was definitely one of the worst time cautions of the season.
I couldn't agree more, especially, you know, with this being the semi-finale of the season, in the championship battle that we have going on here. I mean, although Brett Hahn's probably still gonna find himself in the lead of that after tonight. But anyhow, definitely a tough way to bring out a caution here in tonight's race. But David, you were able to pull off a podium, taking home 3rd place tonight, and, you know, great success here for the 38 machine. You looked incredibly solid out there. You very consistent. Love to see the action out here tonight. But is there anyone watching the broadcast at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank for your success here tonight?
Yeah, like usual. You know, the few times I've talked to you this year, Mason, thank you for stepping up, Team Goon Squad, and then doing the broadcast for us here in our little racing league. You guys do a great job, and I know that the league members and some of the friends and family do enjoy it. I'll give a special shout out to Mike Sturgill for this one. I know Mike from, you know, a while back. I've been racing with him on and off and in various leagues for a long time, and I think he had the speed on me tonight, but he did a fantastic job of keeping it clean and staying off my bumper. I know I was kind of checking up a lot in the corners and stuff, so I think we had a really good race, even though we were just nose to tail the entire race. But so thanks to Mike for that clean race. And then, of course, thank you to my lovely wife, Natalie, for putting up with me once again, playing video games as a 42-year-old male. My birthday was last weekend, so.
Well, happy belated birthday, David. Congratulations once again on a podium. Probably a good way to end off a birthday weekend or week, whatever you want to call it, month, however you want to see it, David. But anyway, congratulations once again, and I look forward to seeing you next week for the season finale at Nashville Super Speedway.
Absolutely, Mason. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great one. Alrighty, folks. Oops, I'm in the wrong place.
Oh.
Alrighty, folks. That is David Payton, the number 38 machine, out of the booth here. So we're going to move on to our 2nd place driver, Brett the Jet Hahn, taking home 2nd place here in tonight's race, and quite possibly going to find himself in the lead of the championship once again. Brett Hahn, I know that we spoke a little bit before we went live here, and, you know, I told you had to do it, and you did it. You pulled off a 2nd place, probably not what you wanted to, especially with that final caution coming out with 3 laps left to go. I know that one probably hurt. I could feel the pain from your car. I could sense it. But anyway, Brett, walk me through your night here, and, you know, starting from roughly the tail end of the field and working your way all the way up here into the top 3. Just walk me through your success here tonight, and I mean, what helped you pull off this podium here tonight?
Yeah, Mason, thank you. We'll start at the top of the show with qualifying. You know, was able to put the 71 machine on the pole, so that gives me a couple points there with that, and that's what we needed to do. Like you said, Mason, coming in, we're actually behind Ron Hart in the points, so I had to crack out whatever we had in the 71 machine. So getting the pole definitely helped, and then in the heat race, I don't know what it is, Mason, recently with me, but if I don't spin someone in a heat race, you know, I'm not out there racing, I guess.
Well, I mean, and I think a lot of drivers here tonight kind of had the same sort of mentality, as there was a lot of just door-to-door, bumper-to-bumper racing here tonight, and, you know, a lot of drivers just really pushing themselves. You know, you see a lot of guys getting into the rear end of the guy ahead of him, just trying to check up going into some of these turns. So, I mean, yeah, I think a lot of drivers here tonight were on the very bleeding edge of what they could do here in these cars. But, I mean, Brett, you know, with all of that in mind and just knowing how tough Martinsville is, I mean, what was it? I guess my question here is, did you expect to come home with a podium tonight is what I ultimately would like to ask.
Yeah, Mason, that was definitely the expectation for the 71 machine. I tend to do better on these bigger tracks especially. And last week, definitely put my butt into gear about putting some extra work in for this and really taking it seriously. And I feel bad for Matt. I know him and me got into some contact there. I was trying to hold my line the best I could, hug that turtle, and I think I even hit it and then hit him. So I felt like we kind of met in the middle, and he kind of agreed with that. So luckily we're on the same page, but hate to see that for Matt. Me and him had such a great battle in the first race of the season. And then coming back to Hayden there, Mason, I'm like, rule number one, I cannot make contact with this guy and pass him like that for the win. I just kept on having flashbacks to Hickory where I dumped him coming to the check, and I'm like, I'm not going to have a repeat of that. He makes a mistake, I'm going to go do it, but I'm not going to do it with any sort of contact, which is unheard of here at Martinsville. And I had my opportunity, but I got taken away with that perfectly timed yellow. I was like, oh my goodness, what are the odds of this?
You know, and I saw that caution come out, and I couldn't believe it. I was bewildered, to say the least. Brett, it was definitely looking promising to see yourself up there in that first place spot, but I mean, regardless, coming home with a podium tonight, definitely, I mean, I think you're going to find yourself in the championship lead once points are all said and done here, but great success here tonight for the 71 car. Only one race left to go in the season, Nashville Super Speedway. Going to be a lot of exciting racing there, but before we head off here tonight, Brett, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
Yeah, Mason, of course, all the Brett the Jet fans out there. I got to give a big shout out to the family. They're out in Rhode Island right now watching me live. So shout out to Grammy and Mom and Dad and everyone watching over there. Happy we can at least bring it on the podium and talk to you again, Mason. Always a good time. Got to give a shout out to you for an awesome broadcast. Can't wait to rewatch this one. Maybe Jacob, my buddy, watching out there, and any of the other co-workers. What's up, guys? Happy to be on the podium. Of course, all the admins here at ASRC and all the fellow racers. Heck of a job. It was a blast out here. Got to thank my teammate Dave Payne. Sadly, Nick Flory couldn't make it, but got to give a shout out to him as well. And Sturgill, the rest of the guys, man, all in that top six. Awesome stuff. And of course, huge shout out for Hayden for his first win ever here at ASRC.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for joining me out here in the booth tonight, Brett. And I look forward to seeing you next week at Nashville Super Speedway and hopefully get to see yourself crowned a 4-time back-to-back champion here with American Sim Racing Club.
Yep, that's going to be the plan, Mason. We're going to go give it our all and hope for the best.
Absolutely, Brett. Well, good luck to you, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep. Take care, everyone. Have a good one. Next week's going to be a barn burner.
Have a good one. All right, folks, that is Brett the Jet Hahn, the number 71 machine, out of the booth here. Last, and certainly is not going to be least here, the driver with the most pressure, it seems like, going into the final few laps of the race here, especially with the last caution. Hayden Swank coming home with a win here tonight at Martinsville Speedway. Hayden, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on your win. Hayden, with that last caution coming out with 3 laps left to go, how nervous were you in that point in time?
Oh, man. But right before that caution came out, when Brett had pulled beside me, I was like, that's it. You know, I made a mistake. It's over. But, you know, I've lost a lot of them, just being unlucky. But luckily this time we won one just by getting lucky. So super, super happy to finally get this win. But, you know, huge thanks to Brett. I mean, he could have put a bumper on me, really roughed me up and tried to move me out of the way. But, you know, he kept it clean. And, I mean, you got to respect that. I mean, if he didn't do that, then it would have been over. So, again, huge thanks to Brett Hahn there.
Yeah, and he said it himself, too. He was doing everything in his power to ensure that he did not make contact with yourself. He wanted to ensure that it was a clean race, but he did also mention that if a mistake was made by yourself, that he was going to take that opportunity. And like you said, you did make that mistake, but you were saved by saving the lovely glowing yellow flag that probably had angel sounds coming from it when it came out for you. I'm only kidding, Hayden, but anyway, this is your first win of the season, I think, for American Sim Racing Club, if I recall correctly. But either way, either how, I mean, the 35 machine, you have done incredible all season long. I mean, how does it feel right now to finally come away with a win and be the driver out on top, especially at a track like Martinsville that is just extremely tough to make passes at and just really come away with wins at?
Yeah, this is my first ever ASRC win, so super stoked with that. But I'd just been, on the podium, just not quite there so many times that I felt like I was taking it too seriously. So this week I just, really didn't practice a whole lot and just tried to have fun with it. And, luckily we ended up here. But yeah, definitely best run of the season, and I'm looking to carry that into the next few seasons. Not battling for points this year, but I think I have the confidence and the momentum to go and take it forward.
Absolutely, and I've loved to see all of the improvement among all the drivers here in the series. Yourself, Andrew Payne, Ron Hart, Charles Darl. I mean, every single driver that we've seen and covered here on Team Goon Squad since the very start. Just almost a year ago now, I think. Crazy to think it's been almost that long, but Hayden, it's really great to see yourself up here in that first place spot for the very first time that we've been covering the American Sim Racing Club series. Congratulations to yourself here once again, but before I let you go here, crack one open in celebration. Is there anyone watching the broadcast at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank for your win here tonight?
Yeah. Obviously, I want to thank Overtime as always. I also want to thank the ASRC for putting on an awesome show and an awesome season. Once again, I love running this series, and I think it makes everybody here a better driver. And then I also want to thank Brett Hahn for running me clean there. So really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Hayden. Well, thank you for joining me up here in the booth. Congratulations on your win here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next week at Nashville Super Speedway.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a great night. Alrighty, folks. That is Hayden Swank, the number 35 car, taking home the win here tonight at Martinsville Speedway. That is going to conclude our coverage here of the season semi-finale of the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight. I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad several days a week. Thank you all for tuning in and watching, and I will see you all for the season finale of the Super Late Model Touring Series next week, same time, same place. Thank you all for watching. See you all next week.